Uh, okay. Um, so here, so that's then the like import, right? DBT also allows you take other projects. So how the DBT allows other projects? Let's go to, there is a file called packages.yaml, right? And now if you look at all these projects, they're all DBT projects, right? Now in our company, and now if let's say there is a seeds DBT project and there is this staging DBT project, for example, right? For if you look at here, as the when we're discussing it, right? Your Kafka is writing into staging tables, like for example, Kafka writing in JSON, right? Now you want to, or there are some process is writing. Now look at this one. Let's say you want to change the column types and column names, and or you want to parse the first name, last name, comma, or you change then decimals and anything. And if you are doing just only staging transformation, it's going to be a project for you. Now, the staging transformation guy is importing Seeds project, right? And there is one guy who is doing macros, right? For example, for here, look at my dynamic pivot, pivot project, right? So today, if you want to build a dynamic pivots, right, you have to know what are your dimension columns, for example, what columns you want to build the pivots, right? And then you want to do sum and group by and all the stuff, and then finally group by in which column you want to, and pivoting on which columns, right? You have to write the SQL. Now you want to do that pivoting in multiple tables, right? How do you do that, right? And then multiple similar table, or in the same table, right? You want to change the pivoting, right? And do you want to write multiple sequels? No, you don't have to. So here, simply you write one macro. We'll talk about more. And then look at this one. Okay, where is my pivot, right? And now, okay, maybe let me admit. So here, look at this one. The same macro dynamic pivot on the same table, right? I'm changing, quarter to I'm changing as a quarter or month, right? And also I can reverse it, name, month and name, right? So in my my rows are month, and then my columns are name, or vice versa, right? Name and look at my rows are name, my columns are month. So you can do using one macro on the same table. Today what we do is we write 3 SQLs, or maybe n number of SQLs, depends on your requirement. Now I can use the same macro, just changing the table name, right? Now if the macro team builds this macro for me, these macros, right? And all I have to do is just define that macro project name um, in my packages. Okay, all we have to do is, right, and just give your package name, right? And so here, instead of this package is from, coming from the public domain, but your package is, you give your company URL, right? Your whatever Git URL in your company. My company dot git, whatever the URL. So you can just import it. That's it. So whatever the status of your Git of the macros project, DBT macros project dash, macros. Okay, that's it. And then it automatically imports the macros into your project. Now, then all you have to do is just create a pivot directory, then call that macro, and then you can just you're done, right? Look at this macro is done. Now, so one more thing is I suggest you all start using the Visual Studio Code, right? If you look at here, Visual Studio Code, and it has a lot of extensions, DBT extension. For example, here, DBT formatter, DBT Osmos, power user, and better Jinja formatting. So I'm using I added all those. Just you just click on it and install automatically. It does it. Now, if you look at this macro, right? Somebody wrote it for me, and I imported it, and now I'm going to test my macro. Okay, here itself, right? So what it does is it connects my macro is connecting to my Snowflake account or Snowflake database, right? Where you look at this one is connecting to Ambari DB, and of course for now I hard coded it, but we can also use a reference. Now it gets the data, and then you can verify it. Okay, am I now look at this is monthly, right? And then the names, right? Month and name. Now what if I change to this guy, right? And um, put a comment here, then put a comment here. Okay. Now I'm going to use this project, this format, right? Okay. Why it has? Okay, I don't need one more. I'm going to remove this, right? Now, okay, let's run this. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, let's remove this, guys. Put it. I want to put it here. I'm testing those, some of them, right? Okay. Dbt name.
Satya, for extract, you're not closing the double quote, extract quarter month.
Okay. 2.
Now there's a double quote. Now there's a quote in front of the early the bracket.
Month, yeah. Okay, got it. Sorry. Yeah. So YAML challenges, right? Yeah. Now, it's swapping month name to quarter, right? You are swapping or month, right? Or vice versa, and all that stuff. So then you can test it here itself, right? And then after that, this project is ready to deploy and then build your pivot tables, and then we can do that. So think about DBT osmosis and DBT formatter, better Ginger, then DBT power user. These are the things I use in Visual Studio Code. So these are like improves your productivity and testing. Now then, yeah, okay. So here you can see the SQL. This is a SQL we write, right? But here, this is a SQL. Somebody wrote this dynamic macro for me, and then automatically the SQL, right? Now you can see the SQL. Based on that, you can start testing, and then you will. Now here, right? If you look at how many months, I don't know how many months, how many quarters it has, right? I don't have to hard code. If I write a SQL, we have to hard code, right? Quarter 1, Quarter 2 of this year, the next year, like. But this is totally. Then of course I can add my where class, whichever I want. Additional things. So the look at one macro, I can use it in all the tables, and then I can customize more. So what happened here? Many jobs are eliminated. Sorry. And then productive, right? And you can see, and then if anybody want, hey, we have a new table, let's build a pivot, then you done. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Can we see the code of the macro?
Yeah. What are the macro?
How big it is? Like, yeah.
No, it's not that big. Okay, where is that one? Macro. Yeah. So click it here. So since we are here, right, so you give you some okay, it's Jinja, right? Very easy, very, very, very easy. Don't think that we have too many, right? You have a macro saying that yeah, give the name of the macro, then think about this is a method, and then you have a variables, okay, column to show which column to pivot, and of course, what is the what column you want to aggregate. Then, of course, my table, right? This is common required. Then, of course, if you want to have a where class, right, filter, you can pass those values. Now look at here. Give me list of the total list of pivot columns. Now I got the everything is dynamic. Now here you can say, hey, I want to only pivot columns if it is a month, and I only want this year pivot month columns, right? Or maybe last year I want to build last year quarter report, right? I can do give me column months only for last year. Then then I got my months in a list. Okay, it's called set, right? Then you build the some columns here. Look at if we can build so basically at the end you have to build this SQL, but everything is dynamically created, right? And um, how do you want to build yours? Then you can run it. You can. I will come back to more macros later. For example, let's say I want to create a database, right? The what we do, how do you create a database, right? Let's go to here. Then you don't in very let's okay, yes. So this is what we did with Ramesh one time. He want to build, create a database, create a schema, create users, create roles and everything. So whatever commands you do, right, bring it on here, right, and create database, create use database, create schema, right, exactly same command. But then we need to add some defensive coding, saying that okay, give me okay, check the database. Okay, somebody want me asking me to create this database, and you need to check, okay, is this database exist? Okay, and then if the database already there, of course I didn't put the counts checker and all that. And then you create this database, and then you you add some condition. For example, here I'm going to create a roles for this database. Okay, database name, schema, role name, right? And then so first you test these grants in Snowflake. All you have to do is just put the variable names, right? So variable names in Jinja is just curly bracket, two curly brackets, and then your variable name. Then you just execute, and here run query, and your database, your users are created or schemas create. So here I gotta create database, create role, create schema, create table, right? For example, yeah, generally we don't want to use a creative, but just I want to show that example. Then I want to ignore this one. Okay. um, Swap database, for example, alter database prior to swap. Okay, let's say you are doing a green blue, let's say you load everything in staging area, test it, then you want to swap your staging to production, then yeah, simply alter. So whatever commands you execute in your SQL, you can run in Jinja code, and the only thing is you just wrap around between variables and all that stuff. So and then once you wrote this kind of right, and you have a project, you give it to someone, then they will take care of it. Okay, and let's go here. um then the marts, right? Somebody builds the your marts table, which is include your fact table, your dimension table, and then of course you standardize dimensions here. Let's go my project here. So I have the marts, right? My dim parts, right? Then dim suppliers. Then I have a type 2, which is my snapshot, right? And then dim customer. um, and saying that when I want to do type 2, on which column I want to use in type 2, what is my unique ID? And then another thing is where in which database or which schema I want to build my type 2s, right? And so let's go back to very quickly. By default, right, when you log into your DBT, okay, so you always use DBT profile. Okay, number one, by default, your project, Ambari test project, right? This is Ambari test project. This is where a lot of people getting confused when presenting in my client. Your project, right? Let's say you have multiple projects. Project one connecting to the Ambari DB training. Your project two may be connecting to Ambari text training, right? Because you might have multiple databases within the Snowflake. But your project connecting to your Snowflake or Databricks using profile, and then you define which profile you want to connect. You want to connect dev or prod, whichever. Once you connect, right, all your dbt objects will be by default all your dbt objects, whatever you create dims or marts, and right, created in this database, right, in this schema. However, okay, this is just for connection. Now we will overwrite wherever you want to. Okay, let me walk through that. This is where your design is very critical, right? First thing is, I want my seeds, right? So the seed team decides, okay, we're gonna store all our lookup tables or all our the test data and anything we're gonna store in the raw schema, right? So that means the stage is overrated for seeds. Now, if we don't define seeds like this, then your seeds will be stored in your stage database. So you can overwrite it here. So that's how you're gonna. Then let's go to snapshot, right? Now I want to build my snapshot tables, which is my type 2. Then I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to put it in DIMS schema. If you don't, it goes to the default stage. Okay. Similarly here, models. Okay, what is a model? Anything under model directory is a model. That means anything you write as a SQL, right? Your facts, yeah, let's say I have example directory. You don't worry about the names of the directories, but you have to worry about the name of the file. The name of the file is same as your table name. Okay, so the fact widgets per users is a file, but we don't call as a file, we call as a model. A model become your table. So in your dbt project, you define the models, right? Look at this one. Okay, for by default, I want all my tables don't want to be transient. Okay, dbt in Snowflake, they make everything as a transient tables. Look at the documentation. Okay, we are in the Snowflake domain right now. I'm not talking about Databricks domain. But I already tested the Databricks. We are using Databricks, dbt in Databricks in my client. So we are in my client today. We use both Databricks, dbt in Databricks, dbt in Snowflake. So we don't want a transient table. By the way, again, this is for demo purpose. Again, what is your requirement? I prefer not to do this one. Okay. On the global level, we will talk to the macro level, micro level, sorry. This is macro. Right now, anything in the project level, whatever you want to, you define here. Now, we'll come back the document required. This is a test coverage later. Then all the models in the example directory, I want to only views, right? And then all the marts directory, I want go to into the mart schema, but I want them as the tables. Sorry. Okay. And the staging, right? I'll want to go to sales stage, right? So look at here, right? I almost all overwrite my stage schema. I almost overwritten because I might be using, maybe I should have used stage here, maybe simple stage. You can also do that. Then I want my tables here. Now, if you don't define, right, tables here, what is my I can define in the my project level, all my tables are views, all my tables are tables. That's what the in the macro level. That means in the project level, how you want your models. Now let's go to individual model level, right? And let's say where I am in, let's go to Mars, and then right in the individual model, I didn't have it here. Okay, I'm looking for yeah. On the individual model level, right? For example, my first DBT here, I'm overwriting it. So if I don't define, then it goes to the project level. In the project level, all my tables are views, right? Then and on the individual model level, I'm overwriting as a table or materialized or view, or whichever you want to define. So again, they don't go too much on the individual model level, right? What we are observing it, it's pain to maintain too much code at each and every individual model level. So let's go in the project level. So make sure, hey, all my mods, I want my physical table, permanent tables, right? And then all my facts, my permanent table, maybe my monitoring, maybe views and all the stuff. So you define how do you want your model level rather than individual model level. Okay, define in the directory level. So this is where the directory level. Okay, questions. So this is a first time setup, right? And again, it's a trial and error. Keep okay. How do you want to do it? Okay, hey, some tables. Okay, we don't care. We need a only model, a view. But some tables you want a physical table. Now, when you talk about physical table, right? And the second thing you need to watch on storage, right? If you keep on inserting, updating, deleting, then your storage is going to start exploding because of the time travel, right? Now, what is your time travel? Is a 90-day time travel or the 1 day time travel? Transient is one, right? Or 30-day, depends on which Databricks versus Snowflake. Snowflake is, default is one, but you can go up to 90. Databricks unlimited, but as you add the time travel, it increases storage. So watch on that. Okay, so your project, right? Your packages, right? Now there are a lot of packages available in the industry. And for example, I want to build my constraints, I can use it. And I want to do the test coverages, or if there are utilities, and then every day someone is coming up new package, right? And elementary is a package for data observability. We will walk through that one. So these are the package depend. So there is a package hub. Okay, let's watch that one. Because this is where you will be spending time to reduce your development time. Okay, dbt. Okay, so here dbt utils, dbt helper, code gen, right? And we are using dbt. We are using dbt expectations. Then another thing is okay, what else? Dbt, of course, util. Uh, um, we are using elementary, and then if you are in Snowflake, you want to do masking. I have not tested this one yet. Yeah, these are then you want to do Snowflake spend. I'm using this one. Of course, there is monitoring versus, yeah, you need, this is another challenge because anybody can write a DB project. There are a lot available, but stick with hub, dbt hub. Then of course, if you are in the ML, okay, so yeah, every day a lot of, then they have good so we are using dbt constraints. Yeah, then I started using, but I removed it. So these are the dbt projects. You can see the code, by the way. You can go there, then you find out where the git is, right? Check their git, right? And then you can see the code. So DBT Hub, this is I suggest you go more often to this place and start looking at what packages are available and start looking at their documentation. Then, and they have a lot of examples and practice it. I do every day. Right? I take, I go to DBT expectations. Now, if you go here, you will see, look at all the examples, right? So a lot of testing with DBT expectations, and then every other day when I see it, you see they keep adding more and more test cases, right? So yeah, this is one of the biggest package, DBT expectations, and this helps you a lot to build your test coverages. Okay. Okay, so packages. First thing is then your the common packages, and then okay. Now, whenever you add a package, step one. Okay, now, whenever you add a package, so let's go to another first step. Let's clean, right? Whenever you testing it, right? Whenever you have issues and other things, you always use to dbt clean. Okay. What the dbt clean does is it deletes some directories. Which directories is going to delete? Okay. So let's go to your project. Okay. Now clean targets. Whenever you run the dbt clean, is going to delete these directories. So where are these directories? These directories are created in your project, right? Now it is deleted. The target directory, dbt packages directory is deleted. Now you can also add, last week question is logs, right? It's your choice. Okay, whenever we want to run the clean, you want to delete the logs. Yes, I would suggest while you are doing the development, but when you are running this one through a scheduler auto airflow, then maybe every other week based on your odd week or even week, you can run delete the logs, depends on how your choice is. But whenever you run, it's going to run the clean. Now, if you run the clean, what happens is it removes the dbt packages and import. So whenever you want that particular package, just adding that package name in the package directory is not going to cut it. You need to import it. So how are we going to import the packages? Dbt deps. Then um, the dependencies. So instead of dependencies, you don't have to type it deps. So what it does is it imports the files, sorry, dbt packages which you have defined in your packages directory. While it is importing, right, and then it also tells which version you are using, and if there is a latest version, it will tells you, hey, this is the latest version we are using it. But again, in depends on your dbt version, you need to be careful. And so what is our dbt version? We are using 1.30, it's the latest. And now look at this one. So last week this is a up to date. Now today they're added zero point 0.1, then after, of course, snowflake up to date. So I prefer, whatever I don't want to get into immediately 3.1. I don't know if this 3.1 going to break 1.30. Careful on that, because I had a lot of issues when I was playing around with different versions. So stick with the proper versioning. At the same time, just because they gave the latest one, don't jump on it. Okay, but this they provide you. So dbt deps. If you don't run the dbt deps, it will fail when you were testing your project. Next, another thing is where I am, right? I have to be in the project. That means, right, in the directory, my project file has to be there. Wherever I'm running my dbt commands, right, I have to be in that particular project directory. Then only it will reach this dbt project, then connects to your profile, and from there it goes to the actual connect your database connection. Okay. Now next thing is dbt debug. Okay, what is dbt debug does? Right, it tells your project configuration is correct by connecting to profile, and then the profile has correct database name, your user ID, password, and your warehouse, whatever whatever credentials are you are defined in the profile. And where is my profile, right? In .dbt directory. By the way, if you don't like .dbt directory to have your profile, you can keep the profile wherever you want, but in your dbt command, right? Now, whenever you use a dbt command, it goes to .dbt directory. But you can say profile, right? You can use the profile directory location saying that, Satya, okay, user, where I am. Okay, let's go to this directory. Yeah, you can give this whatever. Let's say if your location is my profile, something like that. You can give the profile directory location. Right? So then when you use dbt debug, right? What it does is it goes to your profile file. Now let's go to the profile file. These are important because when you are migrating to production, right? So whenever this is my embodied test profile, then when I say dbt debug, right, it goes to the what is my default. The target is dev. Then it goes to the dev here. Then it connects to using this credentials, connects to the embodied DB and this snowflake and whatever. Now, but in the for the same project, you have a production, right? In the same company, you do in the dev, in the production. So what you have to do in your while you are testing for your production, then you need to do target. Okay. So when you say target dev, right, it connected to dev, right? But when I say target prod, right, I don't have prod yet, but I can add a prod. Let me show the document in our presentation. Yeah, here, for example, here, right? Dev, embodied training, and dev prod, but default is dev. Now, if I want to execute, right, the prod in your scheduler, whoever executing your dbt project, they have to give dash prod. Okay, where is here? Dash target prod. Then it goes to your profile, and then from there it connects your prod, the prod credentials. So that's how it works. Look at this one here. DBT. We will come back to run again. Profile, right? Sorry. Okay, look at this one. Profile. My profile is right. Now one more thing is I might have different profiles. We will come back that one, but it connects to dev. But look at the target, right? T prod. You can have multiple profiles. We'll discuss that one, right? So that's important. Where is dbt is running? So your dbt always runs the default, but in production you have to give the target, or your git maybe say, hey, once we move the git into main branch, right? In the main branch, maybe your prod is default, which is fine. Depends on how you design, switch over your profiles in dev branch versus prod branch. Let's say the final main branch of your gate, then yeah, you can do that. Okay.
Okay, I found this on the web for final main branch of Fever Gate.
Sorry, guys. Siri wakes up. Questions before we. This is critical, right? This is where a lot of folks. Yeah, I learned DBT, but what is my production? The production deployment, how you do that and all that stuff. So you have a development branch, right, where you always use development profile, but then when you merge the code into prod branch, which is main, then in the main you may have a different profile, and then wherever you are executing your dbt in prod, yeah, then you will switch over. Now, when you go to cloud, they provide all these features. You click off the button. You don't have to worry about a lot of stuff is automated with from using the GUI. But but behind the scene, you need to understand what is happening. Okay. Questions? Okay. So that's the packages, and right. So we learned about debug, right, and we learned about dbt depths, right.
Did we lost him? Hello.
Seems Manoj. He lost.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, Satya.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's walk through seeds. I want to load my seed data. Okay, number one. So look at our project goals. Where are our project goals? Okay. The runs, right? Okay, we will load the seed data.
Can
So,
you please share your screen?
oops, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Okay. Now, first step is, let's say what is our project life cycle, and we need to load seed data. Do you load seed data every day or every run? No, right? Whenever there is a requirement to add your seed, which is like, for example, you add a new product or you add a new, let's say, in if you have a date dimension, you want to load dates, but more often we load 10 years, or any test data, you want to do some testing, or machine learning folks want some test there. But again, seed data is just for testing purpose or some lookup values. So you use a little bit. Now, how do you run the seed, right? So dbt, right? Seed. Now, question here is, right? Um, Generally, when you add first time, you add the new files and all the stuff. Then do you want to full refresh and then create on the stuff like that? Let's walk through seed first. Okay, let's go to the seed. I'm using seed in a different way in other project. Okay, let's say I want to have a country code, country codes. Right now, I don't have country codes, but I want to create a country code table. Right? All I have to do is just give column names in, but you have to have a .csv file. Number one, give the column names. Now let's look at here. I want to do the testing a Snowflake spend. Then give a column name. Then give the values, right? Or your test data, your whichever you are loading it. So to create the empty table, just give the column names. Now, when when you run the seed, okay, whatever the location you define for your seed, okay, where we define seed, we are defining the raw schema. Then it creates the tables. Now your seed saying that these are column names. Now, if we don't define the schema for your seed, then all columns are varchar. But you need to define the schema for it. So how do you define the schema, right? Then you can tell in the in the same, we can create a file called, dash underscore properties or okay, the name has no meaning, by the way, here, but these names are meaning. Country underscore code means the table name is country underscore code, right? Events means the table name is events. Now in the properties file, it is YAML file, right? Here what I'm saying is, hey, I have a seed and the file name is country code, right? And in the default, I said, I want to create this table in the raw, but of course I can overwrite it, right? And then these are my columns, and I want to declare them as a string, right? Here, these are the columns I want to declare them as int and varchar 2 and date and all the stuff, right? This is my raw orders and my country code, my stage customer, my events, right? These are, so I'm defining the schema for my seed tables. Of course, I need to make it as a seed. Now, while I'm creating this table, then I'm also telling my data types. Now, one more thing is, while I'm loading it, right, then I want to make sure, right, and then the user ID of the event table is unique. The user ID of the event table is not null. I can define that one, right? So after I load, I will do a test on it, my seeds. Then it is my test coverage. So I'm telling, so you follow the exactly same thing in the models and the DIMS and snapshot. This is the same standard format. Okay, you have a table name, you have a configuration, and this is the standard format. You don't have to even by heart remember anything. Then column types, right? And then, then now look at here. I went a little bit, right? Table name. I have a description of the table name because this is where my data dictionary, I'm maintaining it, right? So now let's come here. Today, in my client today, right, I'm already teaching them, remove your data dictionary from the Confluence. Keep your data dictionary in the DBT. So it's one place to go, right? You can see all your table, columns, definition, data types, and everything in one place. So you define your descriptions. Now, let's go a little bit advanced. Well, I don't know all the descriptions. I have a business analyst who is going to define all my documentation. Let's say you have everything in Confluence, right? And what you can do is, right? Okay, where is my MD file? Yeah, okay. I can create a MD file, right? I can create a doc macros in Jinja, right? Look at this one macro, right? Then column name, right? Docs for line number, then give the your description. So now your seed project or maybe your data dictionary project in DBT, just create the only document. You just create the documents, right? And then you can write all your expected values and lookup values and the whole your table description, why somebody called this table, column names, what is the business defined. In any other document you can put it in. You can write the whole 9-yard document, pages and pages here. Now then you use this phone number because you're giving a label name, right? So wherever the phone number column is there, you just define, you refer this phone number doc. Okay. Here, like this. Okay. Description of comment or maybe this is maybe there's other common description. I'm looking at the doc. Yeah, so right, whatever the document is, just you just refer that document comment, right? Where is my comment here? I don't know, somewhere. Yeah, here. You refer that one. So that then even your documentation is in one place. You don't have to define. Now let's go to my event table schema, right? Where is my event table schema? Properties, my seeds, my properties, right? Right now I'm defining the description here, right? But I'm going to define my description, right? In the doc, right? So I don't know how to even define my descriptions here. It is, I mean, I will define in a document project in one universal, then we will bring it here. So you're standardizing your document. This is the biggest requirement in DBT in my client project today. All we need to standardize the documentation because everybody writes in their own document. So now they gave it in Excel. What we are doing is we give it to someone, okay, just create the MD file, right? And then just creating all the documentation. Then we refer the doc and then just attach the documentation here. So documentation itself is a small mini DBT project. It's a little bit more crazy, but we want to try that way. So now you can define in your seeds, your data types, your documentation, and also your test cases, okay? Which is unique and not null is common, but also you can define possible values. Let's say state, your state column, then you can define possible values. Then if there is a seed coming a state called ABC, then your test case will fail, saying that, hey, then possible values test case is failed. Or since in Snowflake we cannot define foreign key, or in Delta tables or Snowflake tables, or in a distributed environment data models, it's difficult to maintain foreign keys, primary keys, foreign keys, and all the stuff. Yeah, then you can nulls and not nulls is not easy to manage. So you can run these test cases here. So now,
I have a quick question. So, will this tests run every time the seed data gets read?
no, you run the test.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So, in that case, is there a way I can define, because our seed data is in a CSV file, so there is no other way for us to define if a column is nullable or not, right?
Yeah.
So we just hope that they put in data correctly and we verify by running tests. If it passes, then we'll use that. Is that right?
Yeah. Sorry. You run. Can you put on mute? Yeah. Sorry. You run your seed load. Okay. Let me run the seed full refresh. Okay. Okay. I added a garbage. So it is doing the parse, and then so basically what it does is, okay, nothing but, right, it creates a table, right, and then it converts into insert statements. Okay. Now seed is nothing but looks for your header of the file, creates a table, and while it is creating the table, also looks for the properties file, right, wherever that properties file is there, and looks for the stage customer. Then look for, oh, okay, I need to create in raw, right? I need to create. So behind the scene, they write a Python code, right? And then look at the column names and look at the data types, and then they convert into create table and insert into that table. That's what it does, right? So now basically loaded it. Now let's run the test, right? DBT test. Let's run the DBT test. Right now, you can run the test on the entire project. Right now, I'm running the test on the entire project. Right, or I can run test on a particular model. Okay, let's okay. Let's run it. So I'm running the entire test. entire my project. Okay, so that means whatever the models I applied, right, and for whatever the models I have in my project, which means whatever the tables I have in my project, it goes to the test cases. Or let me wherever I define my test cases, it goes to the applies it. Put it that way. Okay, let's walk through. Wait on that. Yeah, running the constraints and all the stuff. Yeah, now look at here, right? And then I got all my failure conditions. Okay, now look at which one failed. In the model example, right? Look at this one, not null my first model ID. Let's go to how it is failed. Let's go to my models. Okay, so let's go to my model, first one, right? This is my first model, and then this is my second model, and look at my model YAML file. Okay, so model is nothing but a table, right? And this table, okay, starter dbt model, blah blah blah, right? Then look at this one. The first model I defined unique not null, and second model also unique not null, right? And whatever the data I loaded it. And now look at this one here, my my first dbt model ID, right? What is the model ID, right? ID column. I want unique and not null. It failed. Okay, it's failed. Now if I remove this, right? Rerun rerun my test, right? Then it will say okay, yeah, test passed. So it will provide the documentation saying that which model in which table and which test case failed. Next thing is, once you run this one, you can integrate your dbt with Slack, sorry, or some other your model tools. Then you can get an alert saying that particular test case failed. Okay. Questions?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So let's go to our, okay, look at this one, test, right? I can run on particular directory, right? Now look at when it says staging, it runs in all models within the staging, or I can do on a particular model also. So how often you run the test, right? Do you run the test for the entire, let's say, weekdays? Let's say you load only, facts, right? Weekends, maybe you are rerunning the dimensions. Okay, depends on how, what kind of load it happens, right? And daily basis or weekly basis or whichever, then you define your test case, or you not define the test. Sorry, you run the tests. You don't run the test for everything, the entire data marts or data warehouses continuously. Okay, that's one. Next, seed, very rarely you run. First time, build the tables and all the stuff. So one advantage of seed, sorry, one thing about seeds is you can build empty tables, right? That's what I am doing today. If you look at here in my seeds, right, I'm just building empty tables, right? And sometimes, hey, I want to build empty schema with the documentation, right? You can use the seeds. Next is freshness, right?
How to prepare empty schema you were telling? I mean, at least one table is required. Whatever the CSV we are giving is the table name, am I right?
That's
Without
correct.
creating a table name, just schema means how we can do is it, in YML we will just give something like that.
Yeah. So where is my embodied DB? Okay, my raw, right? These are the temporary. If you look at the tables here, events, right? Raw order in all these tables are created empty. For example, if you look at here, okay. and then my raw, right? And the preview data, there's no data, right? But when I click out here, now the I define all other strings, for example, events, right? Okay, date and number, raw orders, different data types, right? And stays customer. So these are empty tables in my RAM schema. So the seed will help you to create empty tables with proper schema. I mean, data types and all the stuff, right? Okay. Next is freshness. This is a common question your BI team is asking, right? Hey, is fact is loaded today, right? Is DIMS are loaded today, right? Can I go ahead and run my BI tool, right? So that means what is telling is my data up to date? So you define the freshness, right? Whatever the table requires, right? Let's go through the where we define the freshness. Okay. Yeah. So I have a table called raw orders. The data is coming into raw orders continuously, right? Point of sales, whatever, right? You define again what we call as sources, right? Now look at here, freshness and sources, right? So raw order is a source table, right? And then you create another YAML file, okay? We call YAML sources. Look at this one. In the marts directory, doesn't matter where. By the way, a lot of people get confused. Oh, should I have to define all these files in marts directory or XYZ? No, you can define wherever you want, but it has to be unique, right? But preferably you organize in such a way that, okay, anything belongs to marts, so keep it in the marts directory. Anything in the facts, for example, look at the facts model, right? I define the my data types and column types and everything. For the facts table, I keep the underscore facts model, right? This name has no meaning, by the way. You can call facts underscore Satya. But when you run, right, DBT knows, right, which file look for, and because they don't look for the file name, they look for the actual value of the name in the YAML file. Okay. So now let's come to there are two type of files, two type of things. One is sources, right, and another is models. In your directory, either you define a model. Okay, we already done seed. Okay, you define either a seed. Okay, look at here, seeds, and part of seeds you define your YAML file. Then YAML file can be anything, Bob Jones, right? In the seeds, you're telling that okay, I have a CSV file. Consider that CSV file as a seed. While create the table in a particular schema, whatever the schema I define, then create the data types and all the same. So seeds. Next is the models, right? So model is anything you want to create a table other than seed, right? And you want to define description, everything we call as a model, right? In the model, right, you define your test cases. In seeds also you define the test case, but seeds is only meant for import data from a CSV file. But once you have done that part, then you want to talk about table transformation, new tables and all the stuff, and the final tables or fact tables and everything you define. So how your fact visit table looks like, then we call as a model. Then you have a description, exactly if you look at the C table, same format. Then you have a description, you have a test, you have a unique test, right? And Now look at this one here, right? Relation. You can define your test case. I want my user ID in this table. Okay, first of all, you define the data types and all the things, whatever you want, but also telling that the user ID should exist in dim customer. So what is this telling is, right, when you run a load, DBT will take care, they run the dim customer first. They follow the DAG. Otherwise, your fact visits or per user, whatever, this table will fail. So they know it the order. Or if the dim customer is loaded before, is in a separate DBT project, you need to make sure you run the dim customer first. Or if it is one project, DBT will take care of it. Let's say you loaded dim customer data, raw dim customer, you loaded the raw facts and whatever, then they load the dim customer first. Then they will load your fact table later. Okay, how I am loading my fact table, right? How I am loading my fact visits table, we'll come back to that. But after I load data into fact visits, after I loading into fact visits per user, if I run a test, again, if I run a test, then it will check the conditions. It checks the relation. Now, if you don't define, it won't check. There is no test case. Again, you define the test case, then only test. Or you define the test case, if you don't run the test, it won't test it. The test will be run only when you ask for to run the test. Now, if you define the test, then it will run. And when you execute the test, dbt space test, then it will come back here and it will check, okay, hey, this particular user ID will there in the dim user. And what is the dim user ID? This is a column. It will check that one. So models. Next, right? Then in my marts, okay, right? I I want to make sure my parts table, my whatever, right, is my tables, right? Again, you look at this one. My table is raw order, right? I don't have raw order in this here, right? Where is another table country code? The country code there, country code is not here. But I defined a source file just intentionally in this directory. I can define the source file anywhere I want. But generally you organize in such a way, right? Because I have orders, right? And then that's why I define our. Now look at the sources. What are the sources means, right? For order table, raw order is a source, right? Then I want to make sure this table is fresh. Okay. That means if it is not loaded, if I run now, and if it is not loaded within the 6 hours, then it's going to be, hey, warning. Now, if it is 12 hours, that means it's an error. That means, again, we are telling ourselves, right? Okay, I run so morning is 6 o'clock, we run the freshness. Then, 12 o'clock, we run the freshness, and 6 o'clock, another 6 p.m., we run the freshness. And based on that, hey, that means, morning 6 o'clock, we run, okay, we are fine, we are still within the 6 hour waiting period. But then after evening 6 o'clock, then they said, okay, no, something wrong. Our loads are failed. We need to send an error alert. That means the data is not loaded. So you can add, again, it's all up to you whether you want warning or error, whichever way you want. So that means it's telling your data is not fresh. So behind the scene is nothing but select star from customer, sorry, select star from orders where max date -6, that's what they run. But we don't have to run any. Today, what we do is, how do you check your freshness in a table? Okay, you run select count star from raw orders where date, greater than equal to now -6 or now -12, something like that. But they will take care of all these things here. So when you run the freshness. On what column? Order date column. So look for order date. Okay, what is the most recent date in the order, and is it within the 6 hours, less than 6 hours, less than 12 hours? They compare it and then they will alert for us. So the load team, the Kafka load team, or your S3 load team, or any team, so then they're loading data into your raw schemas, right? And yeah, generally you load into raw schema, right? And of course, you can define this table maybe in one schema, this table maybe in another schema. You can define that. So again, YAML is so flexible, you can do in whichever way you want. But you are telling that is my data is fresh or not. So freshness, okay. How often you run the freshness? Yes, you are right. So you can run the freshness in the morning or or whenever you run the ETLs, or maybe is the ETL 24-hour ETL load, or you're running a 12-hour ETL load, but you need to run the freshness, in a particular time. So we are thinking, we have not implemented yet. We're going to put this one in Airflow. We will run it in a schedule, and then it runs the freshness, and then it will send it to the Slack. We are creating a separate Slack. Actually, I myself created a separate Slack. Okay, what happened? Yeah, here, right? This is my Slack, and then whenever okay, not null. So you will see this kind of errors in your Slack. If you I created a Slack channel, then I associated my Slack channel to my DBT project. Then whenever, yeah, it's almost August. I'm not running. I removed my Slack config. So you can run this one. Then whoever has access to Slack, they can see it. Okay. Freshness. That's one thing. Questions before? Don't get overwhelmed. There's nothing much. It's all one. If you learn one format, everything is same. Okay. Next is
Yeah, Satya. Yeah, I have a quick question. Yeah, we can run the test on source data as well as models, right? Is it
yes.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can run on a specific model, right? You can run on the entire directory. You can run on the entire project, whichever way you want to do it. Okay. So for example, here, right? I'm running yeah, dash select, right? Only on the facts directory. Dash select on fact widgets, right? We'll walk through that, right? Okay. Next is snapshots. Do you have a type 2 tables, right? If you have a type 2 tables, you have to do it a little bit differently. Okay, what is a type 2 table? Okay. Okay. Let's walk through quickly. Then we'll go back, and then I'll share this to you guys. Yeah. So type 2 table, right? So you work for credit union, or you work for credit TransUnion, or Experian, or Equifax, right? Every time when you change your apartment or a house, and then they keep track of the history, right? So let's say you are an apartment one from from January 1st to December 31st of 2021. That's one record. That's the first apartment you have in America. Then you change the apartment, right? Then still your social security number is same. Nothing changed. You are the same guy, same, right? Same Bob. But then in the type 2, we don't overwrite your previous address with new address. That's a type 3 or type 1, whichever sometimes. We always write a new record, but we inactivate the previous record, right? The common pattern in type 2 is to inactivate. What they do is your start date of the new apartment, let's say January 1st this year, you started a new apartment, right? And then your start date is January 1st, and then your end date of the previous apartment is the start date of the new apartment. So we put the end date with the start date of the current record. Then current record end date is null. That's how the type 2s are designed. Everywhere you go, maybe some people add additional flag is active flag, blah blah blah. But this is the best design. Always end with. Now, how do you do this one? Right? Let's say you moved every year, moved one apartment. Let's say you moved to 10 apartments in 10 years. Now, in this table, as soon as you change an apartment, we insert this new record. Then we need to find out most recent apartment you are living in. Then take that record, update this end date, then insert this date with null. You have to do it through SQL, right? In Spark, right? You write, you read you have your source table, then where you have a new record, your history table, you have the previous record, then you do group by, order by, and get the most recent record, and then you do merge and update. You run the merge, which does insert and update. So updates the previous record, insert. So this is how you do it in SQL way, in Spark or SQL. But in DBT, once you configure, okay, let's configure that DBT. Okay, there is a directory called snapshot. Okay, directory called snapshot. You have to put in the snapshot directory, by the way. Then I have a dimension called dim customer, right? And then I have a raw table stays customer. Okay, let's go to here. Okay, I have raw table stays customer, which is basically name and blah blah blah, address and start date and end date. Okay. So read from the stays customer. Now look at this one. The stays customer, right, and is available in my database, right? Okay. And I'm referring it. I'm not hard coding it here. Now we are telling is I want to create a snapshot of dim customer, right? And of course, I want to create that one in this directory, in this schema, in this database. And of course, follow this table. Whatever the table has that columns, the dim customer has exactly, whatever the columns I want. Then I want to use end date as my strategy to build a dimension. That's it, you configure. And the same template, you're going to use it for any other dimension tables, type 2s you have. All you are doing is reading this table. You just do the configuration, and you're telling it is a snapshot. then automatically it builds the type 2. Okay, and then I also want to add some freshness. Yeah,
Uh,
go.
so when you run this, does DB2 bring the whole data from the dim table into its memory to apply this transformation, or because it needs to know? So let's say I have some new dimension, some new dimensions coming in. Let's say new customers, and there is a change to existing customer. So it needs to know which of these are new inserts and which of these are actually. It needs to expire the old record and apply the new record, right?
Okay, let me explain this one. Okay, so here, right. So this is my stage customer, right? My ETL tool loading the data into the stage customer table, right? And then my ETL, right? Then after that, of course, this customer is a transient table, right? And then this data is disappears after 1 day, right? Or if it is there, some reason I can update the name, or maybe I can insert a new value coming in. This is happening on a daily basis, right? This is a flow, the extract flow. The extract is I have a stage customer. I'm keep on inserting, right? Even my update is my source. They updated my name to KSN, then particular date and all the stuff. But when it comes to Snowflake, it is coming as an insert statement. So all the inserts are happening. Or while the data is here, if I do some update, which is also fine, but assuming all the data is coming in. Now I need to build my type 2, the dimension table, right? Saying that my source coming in, I want to take my source table, which is a raw, the stage customer, build my dimensions, my type 2, and also I want, while I'm doing my type 2, I also want to check my freshness, okay, which is, okay, what that means is, hey, when was the last time the type 2 was built and all the stuff, okay, or the any data coming or not. Okay, hold on. Next question is, DBT is a SQL transformation tool, right? You write your, you are saying that I have my stage table, and the stage table has an end date, right? And stage table has an ID. I want to build my snapshot, which is my type 2, in this database, in this schema. That's it. Now, it converts this code into a SQL, which is basically merge, insert, update, and delete, merge condition. And the code is executed in Snowflake using Snowflake engine. DBT doesn't have anything memory. DBT is a dumb SQL convert tool, executes in your database. DBT doesn't maintain any memory. DBT doesn't have any services. Any server. It doesn't have any cluster, nothing. You submit. That's why when you go back here, look at this one. We are connecting and we are using this warehouse. Now, how many threads? Now the performance community issue, definitely. Now, when the DBT knows the DAG, the sequence of things you need to execute in your Snowflake or Databricks, right? Now I'm using, since I'm using my laptop Mac, I use only one thread, but when you deploy it in your through cloud, you can use multi-thread. Then it will know which DAG to execute in which order, and how it knows the fan out, fan in model. But everything is executed on your Snowflake, on the Snowflake warehouse, whichever you suggested. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when I run this one, right, and then when you go to my type 2, Okay, let's run this one first. Okay.
But sorry, Satya, one more question. So
Yeah.
basically, it 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 can create a merge statement. It's just not insert or update, because if it if it needs to create an update statement, it needs to know if that dimension already exists and if there is a change in one of those dimension values, right?
Right.
So
So when you run the okay, so the you have a source table, right? Raw customer. You have a dim, the final table dim customer. Okay. Now your merge condition, you insert a new row here. Okay, row one. Right. Now it compares that row one exists. The ID one exists. I'm going to use ID one exists in the customer table. If not, it will do insert. Right. If ID one exists, right, and ID one also exists here, then it runs a sorry, it runs the type 2 now, right? Then basically, hey, it's going to a modified row. It will create a row 1 again, then disables this row, and then the end date equal to whatever, then end date equal to null here. That's how the type 2 works.
so that means it creates the SQL code basically by reading each record it creates, or is it going to be a batch kind of uh,
It is a one merge statement. Right? One merge statement using these rows. This is your source, right? Let's say it will read only these values here, right? So one means then it will read only row one. It doesn't read row two. Your source table is the primary table for join. Okay, how many new rows are created in the raw customer table? Then that's how even if you write in a SQL, forget about DBT. How do you do it in type 2, right? You join with your raw table, right? A raw customer with this one. Then, okay, I got the row one. Then you do order by. Let's say, for example, I have 10 rows in one. Right? I moved apartment 10 times. Okay, give me the most recent row, right? These are all end, right? They are done, but this is most recent row, right? So it takes this most recent row. They're all ended, right? They're all ended, done. They're all my old apartment. Then it takes most recent row, right, and does end for it. Then it takes this row, does the insert. That's how the type 2 works.
okay, so it is implicitly joining. Okay, because yeah, I was thinking from a typical SQL point where
No.
because I didn't see the join, so I'm just trying to understand how that
Yeah, no, we don't, that's why I'm telling you we don't write join. My grandma is running the DBT snapshot, right? One line code. Where is my one line? Yeah, if you look at this one, yeah, if you look at here, right, from updates, right, from updates, right, that's what the source table, right, then it does the actual the customer table, right, that's how the joins up. It's called staged updates, right? So this is a simple one example of merge condition, right? And the actual type 2 is you have to do lag, right? Order by lag, most recent row order by of one and most recent, then update that one. So I gave a very smaller version, but actually the real type 2 is a little bit complicated. Okay. Now,
Satya garu, about like completely loading the raw tables, raw source data.
that's your problem. Not DBT problem.
Okay.
Right? That's ETL, right? E
Yeah,
part. E part. Yeah. DBT doesn't care about E part.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So keep okay, let's go back to here. DBT doesn't care about this part. DBT cares about, oh, do you have this table or not? But DBT ignores, how do you load it? How do you update it? Right? Whether it's a transient table or full table. Let's say, for example, you never your stage table keep on increasing, right?
Mhm.
Which is fine, right? And then it will come. Now, what other thing also they do? Let's say I never deleted this table and keep running again and again, right? Now
Mhm.
there is one more thing they do behind the scene, MD file.
Okay.
Okay, is this row? Let's say, is this row change? Let's look at the number one.
Mm.
Okay, yes, number one change or number one change when I update or when I do insert again, but number two never change.
Got it.
Right? So what they do is they build MD5 for the entire row. They build the MD5 of the dim customer for row number two, and those two MD5s are same. Oh, no change.
Mhm.
That's one way of designing it, right? Or another way is these are gone, right? Next day, after 24 hours, this data is gone from this table because this is a transient table. It keeps only one day. So by the time next run, your stage customer is empty. That's one design. Or your stage customer is there forever, which is also fine. Type 2 works.
Okay.
But behind the scene, it uses MD5,
Got it.
right? We do the same thing, right? We take all the columns and we concatenate and we create a one big string. We convert into MD5, select MD5, then concatenate of all the columns, and then we do MD5 of the same table here. Then
Compare
then
it.
compare it, and then okay.
You got it, Satyagar. Like I was just thinking, like who are going to handle the extract part of it, so it is not the DBT's headache. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And let's go to quickly. Sorry, guys. Okay. So I have data now. I loaded data into my stage, right? Then so yeah, the beauty is, right, in the whether I'm not writing the whole 9 yard SQL, whether this table is deleted or is this table keep on kept there. I'm not writing MD5 or nothing behind the scene. The Snowflake is writing. Can I see that SQL in the DBT? Yes, I think we can see it. We can come back that one later. Okay. Now, right. So let's go back to our project strategy. Now we have here my project strategy. Now let's do run, right? I have only one table in my snapshot directory. Okay, where is here? Snapshot directory, right? Saying that this is my raw table and somebody is inserting my raw table. Somebody created my raw table there. And then these are my column strategy, and then telling as a snapshot. Then of course, then I also do some freshness, blah, blah, blah. Now let's run. Okay. Okay. My DBT dim customer created and using things. Okay. And now let's go to here, type 2. Okay. So previously we don't have this dim customer table. So automatically it created a dim customer in my schema. Now look at what behind the scene, right? Okay, these are my columns up to end date. Behind the scene, they added their own columns. Look at this one. They added a MD5, right? This is their columns. So we don't care about, right? Now let's take one column, one ID. Yeah, so I'm living in this apartment, and I told that Now again, this is very simple example. Now let's say I come here, right? I change some data of ID1. Let's run. Somebody, still the data is there. I modified the data. Now let's run the snapshot again. Now, when I was working for an insurance company in Detroit, we have to build an almost 10 to 15 DIMS, type 2s. And then, of course, I have a 10 Scala classes, or 10 plus, whatever, 15. Right? And we're not able to templatize, right? I have to write the SQL code and then, do all the things. Of course, the same code, copy and paste. But, okay, so let's run. There you go. So this says, right? This is done, right? And this is a new value. Okay, just look at this one, right? The end date, right? End date here. I give the end date here, and this is end date. Then now let's come back. Okay, hey Satya, you just existing column you updated. Why? How about if you insert a new value? Now look at this one. Satya become KSN become now Ram. Let's go to Ram. Okay. Now I insert a new row in the same table. Again, I have not deleted any rows from this table yet. Okay, I updated one row, right? And then I'm going to do my type 2 here. Okay. So now here, once you build a template, right? Then grandma is running it. And how difficulty once you, so now you have a one project only doing type 2s. All you have to do is just create a directory, create a project, and then you create a snapshot. Then you just copy and paste. Again, now in one table you may have a ID, another table called user ID, another table called end date or start date or final date or update date, whatever date name you done. That's it. This is your template for all your DIMS. Which all you have to change the names. Now let's, okay, my snapshot is done. Okay, now let's run again. Here you go. I have two histories. Let us. So whether I do update an existing table or I insert a brand new table, brand new record, then automatically I have my type 2 coming in.
Is it type 2 Satyagaru or like type 1? Like
This is type 2.
type 2, okay.
Okay. Now you look at how simplified the type type 2, right? Well, all you have to do is somebody come in and then do your, right now I have a customer and products and then orders and whatever, right? All the parts, supply, you name it. Then you just come here and just change the value, and then whatever the ID. That's mostly you might be changing either ID value and end date. That's it. You done. Your type 2s are built and good to go.
Then how about Satyagaru, if it is like address dimension, right? Can we include more attributes there?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, your base table, how your lookup table, right?
Okay.
Now let's say, now you may say, let's go back a little bit back on it, right? I have a customer, then somebody is sending the address for like stage address, right? Yeah, then you have to do a little bit transformation, saying that you create a customer address table in your
Yes.
model, then use the customer address model from your raw, then make it as a customer address dimension.
Okay. And include those attributes in the snapshot.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
This is my favorite in DBT, right? And then I look at, oh my God, I spend, of course, as a consultant, I'm fine. But what I mean is, you look at, it's almost a month project for build the dimensions.
Wow.
right? In now it is a 1 day maximum, right? And maybe go through testing and then yeah, it's 1 day I can build all the dimensions.
All the type 2 dimensions. Yes.
Yeah, all the type 2 dimensions, right? Instead of 1 month, right? Because we have to do Scala setup and then testing, and then now I can do my freshness test, right? Right? Then I can add my other tests, like my not null, nulls, and whatever, right? Possible values, and then I can have my custom tests saying that, right? For example, let's say I have a fact table, right? And then is my revenue is somebody ordering more than 500 items for a given order? That means some flag. Is revenue is money paid is negative number. So those kind of tests you can add. Similarly, in the dimension, whatever test cases you can add it. This is beautiful. I mean what I mean is your type 2s is common in any data warehouse project, right? And if you work for any credit unions, yeah, you can build type 2s in just in fraction of seconds. And then it is doing your testing for you, your freshness for you, and then whatever you want. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and look at the see, if I really want to type to write, I have to write the code and test it, and then go through whole 9 yards. And I need to, before that, I need to understand the window functions, lag functions, and then order by and group by, and of course these guys are doing for me. Okay, behind the scene they are doing it, right? Their target.
Can we see the code, like what DBT generates behind the scene? Is it visible?
Here you go.
Okay.
Same edge condition, nothing more, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they're running the update and match. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So they're not doing anything fancy. They're exactly same. That's why I showed you the merge condition, right? And then now they are doing the right. So where do you see the code? Okay. So now if we go to target directory, right, and then you will see run, right? Then you see models, and then you can see your code, right? This is also helps you. Is DBT is doing correct, or it meets your requirement, or if you want to do any adjustment back to, you can do that and all that stuff, right? So look at here. Yeah. So look at my country code, right? Create table, right? Look at my snowflake. Look at this one, right? So you created a table. Since I have a value on my CSV file, they did the insert. Again, SQL is SQL, but DBT is doing for us.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have, generally what we do this one, right? We create a table, then we need to find my CSV file, upload the CSV file, read the CSV file, and then loop through CS row by row, column by column, and do insert. Or maybe you do build over your insert statements using CSV in Excel, but you don't do it. See, they do for us. Right, and this is my null test, right? And then this is my relation test. Again, everything is SQL. Whatever you do in YAML configuration, it will be converted. Okay, so then
does DBT have like more like a plan, like to add more kind of transformation things, what we do in general ETL tools?
they're not telling us yet.
They are not telling it. Okay.
Yeah, but so my when I wrote in my LinkedIn, then I got ping DBT guys. Yeah, we're not telling it. So see, again, now they're done with the T part, right? Then they're almost done with the metrics part. Then they're almost done with the exposure or semantic layer. And now, of course, the tuning thing, but then they need to grab the market, right? So, and then the E part, right?
Yes.
And that's one. Now let's while I'm running, then I want to run then they want to capture the E part, which is easy to buy some Airbyte or some other tool, and they have 120 connectors. Um, um, right? Um, okay, I will tell you what is the missing part. So definitely, yeah, they are providing the lineage within the DBT, within the domain of Snowflake or whatever, but then we don't know E part. So that means you have to go to some other lineage tools, right? Um, Okay, so DBT provides the documentation. DBT docs generate. So whatever project you have, and then the look at our databases, right? This is my database, dim smarts raw stage. Then you can see each table. Then this is right. You can see one place to go. Your descriptions, comments, and then um, um, the freshness, your test cases, whole 9 yards in one place. Okay, and then you can see in a graph mode. Okay, let's go back to projects and Ambari, and let's go to the graph mode. Now look at this one, right? My country order table built using country code, raw orders, customers. Sorry, the country order built raw orders and country code, right? Now you can see, so this table built from this source table and this source table together. So you can see the lineage, right? How this SQL is built, right? Now, when you click on it here, then you can go to the documentation. Then what is the dependent table? They call nodes and country code and order. You can see the entire data model of your tables and your SQLs, your fact table, your dimensions, how they are built and everything, you can see in one place, right? And then, okay, so here, project, and then the body, then come here. Now you can see the you know all the tests and constraints and everything. Then you can see individual models level, right? I'm going to say everything. Yeah, so they're all my tables here, right? But I want to see only marks, okay? Or I want to see only facts. You can see the whatever tables been designed and how they. Then yeah, if you look at dims, dims, no, don't know dims. Yeah, snapshots, right? I can see, my dim customer built using the source and all this. So one area is missing here. It doesn't tell that where is my relations, primary key, foreign key relations properly. Even though you document it, it doesn't show the lineage, right? It shows only the table joins and all that stuff, right? The For example, right? Where is that one I'm going to show here? Yeah, look at the country orders, right? Then it built on these two tables, right? Right, and alerts and other things. So, but we don't. It would be nice, right? Then they will show that the primary key, foreign key relations within the table, saying that this is how. It shows only table joins, but it doesn't. So that's what they're asking. They will add it. But here, then the point here is you can see the entire documentation, your data dictionary, your columns, your names and descriptions and whatever. Of course, you need to define it. So whatever you define in your sources, your descriptions and everything, you can see it from the documentation. It's one place to go, right? Now you don't have to maintain in the Confluence and other thing. and then you can see how your tables are being built, right? In then, for example, look at this one, my dim supplier, right? Built on using, this is a source, this is a source, this is a raw area, and these are converted into staging. Then finally, dim supplier is joined up these three tables, or yeah. So then anybody, your business analyst or any domain expert come in, okay, what's happening in dim customer, then they can come back and then view documentation. Then, now you can see the SQL. So one place, right? And then somebody can then analyze it. Okay, is these joins are correct? And then you can do your quality checks. So this is one of the best advantage of DBT. One place to go, seeing all your entire raw area, then staging area, whatever, and then your dimensions and facts, and then the sequels, and then of course visual way, and then your documentation and your expected values, your tests, and everything you can see. Then there is other tools, right? When you run the tests, right? These guys, they don't show the test cases, right? But they will show you, the what the only dependencies and all the stuff. Then they look at the description column. Yeah, we don't have much description here. Columns, and then dependencies and code, of course, right? There is a tools coming in, right? And then they can show you which test case is successful, which test case is failed. We will discuss that one so I need one more class to complete things. Okay, so going back to calendar. Yeah, we may do on December 3rd. One more class, then I can cover elementary. Then, of course, test cases. I need to cover the test cases. Yeah. Of course, I need to run. Well, I need to cover run, and then a couple of other test cases. So we'll have
incremental models also.
Yeah, facts, right? Yeah, facts. Yeah, I need to run the facts. Okay, where is incremental facts? Yeah, we will discuss about the incremental models, right? And then I want to spend a little bit more time on macros also. Then go back. Now you can see all the logs here, right? You can go back and check your errors, and definitely logs will help. We'll discuss about incremental. Then we're going to talk about I want to discuss about the elementary, which is this one, right? So when I run the test cases, now it will show, okay, this table, this it failed, freshness failed. That you can run a report, and in addition to the lineage, then this report can provides you the whole linear test cases. Okay, elementary, lineage, snapshot. Yeah, we're going to talk about incremental. Then, I need to talk about test cases, right? That is why everybody wants DBT. Yeah, you can run the test cases, right? Of course, we are talking about lineage, right? But we talked about sources, schema, and the test coverage, right? How you build your test coverages on the column level, or in the table level, or a particular value level. And if you look at, we will discuss about custom test cases versus default test cases, and also the DBT expectations and DBT. One more thing I want to talk about. Next class is DBT constraints, right? Of course, specific to Snowflake. That's my plan. So we'll meet on 3rd because next week is long weekend, right? So yeah, and we will conclude our DBT session. And also almost all I'm covering for your exam, right? If you guys try to go to DBT documentation, DBT website, and look for DBT certification. Almost I'm covering almost all topics other than Git. Git, again, Git is Git, right? Nothing much. So yeah, definitely I encourage to write the exam, and yeah, go for it. So we will conclude our class on 3rd. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, Satya.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.